The former vice president and PDP's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar's policy document is basically centered on three key task areas of job creation, restructuring the polity, and getting Nigeria working. He says if elected, he will be proactive in attracting investments and supporting the 50 million small and medium-scale enterprises across Nigeria for the purpose of doubling the size of the country's GDP. This investment, he adds, will create a minimum of 2.5 million jobs annually.
When I was vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, from 1999 to 2007, I chaired the National Economic Council. That gave Nigeria her highest and most consistent GDP growth of over 6% per annum. Despite the fact that crude oil prices at that time were much lower than they are today, under the dynamic leadership of President Obasanjo, we paid off Nigeria's entire foreign debt. We also introduced the GSM revolution that saw Nigeria go from 100,000 phone lines to over 100 million today. We were able to achieve this and much more because we had a plan called the National Economic Empowerment and Development Strategy. That plan worked. And today I have the pleasure of unveiling our policies and strategies, not promises, to take Nigeria from where she is right now to where she needs to be.
All right, let's now bring in the four guests who are joining us this morning for the conversation. First, we'd like to welcome Dr. Oluwole Akinwumi. Dr. Akinwumi is head of Atiku Policy Statement. Dr. Akinwumi, a pleasure to have you with us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning, and thank you.
All right, also here with us on the studios is Mohammed Bello. Mohammed Bello is a special assistant on policy and strategy to the presidential candidate of the PDP. Mohammed Bello, pleasure to have you with us on the program this morning.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Okay. And Joy, we have two other guests.
Yes.
Okay. Ugojim Nwoko is a senior media aide to Atiku Abubakar. Ugojim Nwoko, pleasure to have you with us on the program.
Good morning.
And last but not the least, I would like to welcome the director in charge of delegates mobilization and management of the Atiku campaign organization, Dr. Baraka Sani. Dr. Baraka Sani, pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right, Joy.
All right, let's start by talking to Dr. Oluwole Akinwumi, who is head of Atiku Policy Secretariat. We're looking at 2019, it's here, and they've rolled out the campaign drums. Let's look at the policy document of the People's Democratic Party. What exactly is the crux of this document, and what informed the launch on Facebook?
One, the policy basically is all about jobs. J-O-B-S. J stands up for jobs creation. O for opportunities for all Nigerians, irrespective of who they are, whether they are disabled or able, man or woman, to give them opportunity to have a stake in this country, because quite a lot of them has been taken out of our economic system. And thirdly, B is being united. I am sure every one of us here knows quite well that this country has never been where it is now any time in the history of our country. Because, you know, I don't want to start mentioning or listing some of the problems we face in this country. And the last one is security. Very important. So that is the pillar upon which Atiku policy stand. Those four areas: jobs, job creation, opportunities for Nigerians, being united, and securing our nation.
Now, it was, I know that the campaign was launched on Facebook. What informed that decision?
You know, we are now in a generation where, you know, you have to key into what happens in society. We don't live in the 30s or even we don't live in 2015 now. This is 2018. That is the trend. And you know Atiku, for instance, is somebody who loves to move with a trend, to introduce new things, to bring in semblance and opportunities and get on with time. And that is why, you know, most of our young ones, if you look at the policy itself, there is a big chunk on youth empowerment and women empowerment and the rest of it. And if we are going to address this cohort of our nation, then there is a need to actually use the medium that, you know, that they are conversant with. So using Facebook and other media to preach the gospel of Atiku is not something that is a misnomer. I think that's just the ideal thing to do.
All right, Dr. Akinwumi, thank you very much. We'll come back to you. Mohammed Bello, you're Special Assistant on Policy and Strategy. Now, let's have a clear understanding of what label, I mean, labels often do not matter. We'll get down into the contents later. But what exactly is the label were used to properly identify the candidate of the PDP? Dr. Akinwumi is saying jobs. Earlier, we were hearing of getting Nigeria working again. We also heard about the People's Document. So exactly what is which?
I think they're the same thing. I think fundamentally, when you're talking about jobs, you're talking about getting Nigeria working again. You can't have one without the other. We exist in a society right now where I think for the first time we now have more poor people than India. Despite the vast population in India, recently Nigeria has more poor people than India. So Atiku Abubakar is focused on that. Jobs, getting Nigeria working again, and ensuring that all the young people that continuously enter the Nigerian economy have a stake in the economy and can contribute to that economy. So, like you said, we're not focused on the labels. Whatever Nigerians like, they can choose. But fundamentally, it's about jobs, and those jobs will get Nigeria working again.
And Ugo, Jim Uwoko, from the media perspective, my colleague Joy asked the question: why go online to launch this rather than having, if you like, a physical media blitz?
It's simple. It tells you the personality of the man, Atiku Abubakar. He's a man that is digital in character. He, as my colleague Dr. Akinwumi said, he moves with a trend. And what is a trend? The trend today is that we live in a global society, an environment where just at the top of your fingers, you reach every part of the world. Now, Nigeria and getting Nigeria working again, the jobs that need to be created are for Nigerians, and they're going to be created within the context of the global system. So we'll be talking about foreign direct investments. You'll be talking about Nigerians who are in the diaspora. You'll be talking about the youth. You'll be talking about women, the able-bodied men, and so on. So when Atiku launched the policy document on Facebook, it was to move with a trend, to reach every part of the world, to make sure that no one is left behind, to also ensure that it is easier for people to access. Because if you just do the old things, it will not work. It is important that we understand that the impact of technology, social media on our world. So this is no longer a time where you bring 1950 ideas to come and implement in Nigeria in 2018. So launching it on Facebook is symbolic in several ways. It also tells you, first of all, one, that Atiku is going to be a digital president, a president that will be in tune with the realities of our world today, a president that will be in tune with the needs of the youth, the needs of the younger generation, a president that is looking forward, not backward, a president that is going to create jobs using the ICT sector, a president that is going to make sure that the creative energies of Nigerian people are unleashed, a president that is going to make sure that the international community will respect Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest black nation in the world, So whatever happens in Nigeria affects the world too, both Nigerians in diaspora, Nigerians at home, and so on. So how else can you sell this gospel other than to use a medium that will be able to impact on the world? Let the world know that a new thing is happening in Nigeria, a new thing is coming. Atiku Abubakar is a new thing.
Okay, so what about, it's good, but what about those who are yet to catch up with ICT and the older generation? Are you thinking about them?
Yes. This is the first phase of the unveiling of the document. There will be the next unveiling, which people are used to. That is the physical document. Now, at that point, the print media, the informal medium of communication will be deployed. The campaign is about starting. Our people at the rural areas are going to be reached using the medium that we can use to get to them. The campaign structure is in such a form that from the national level up to the unit level of voting, or the local government, the ward level, we have people at different levels to make sure that this message gets to the people of the grassroots. It's going to be translated into several Nigerian languages so that no one is left behind, because the business of getting Nigeria working again is a business of all, not a business of Atiku Abubakar alone. So it is important that through the social media, the whole world has been reached. We're going to move the next step using the local and the normal medium of communication to reach the people at the grassroots. Like I said, it's going to be in several Nigerian languages. Our people are going to sell these messages to the people in the language they will understand. So this is just a first phase of the unveiling of the document. And what we are doing here is also a process of getting the people you are talking about, get to know about this document and the good it has to offer them.
All right, yeah. Thank you very much, Ugo, for your statement. Let's bring in now Dr. Barak Hassani. Dr. Barak Hassani, again, taking off from the acronym of JOBS, as articulated by Dr. Akinwumi, Nigerians are going to ask themselves, what is the difference between what you are proposing in JOBS and what is already on ground with a government that is proceeding and also talking about the next level?
Well, you see, the whole issue about the document, the difference is that for the first time, we've been able to clearly diagnose what is wrong with the country. When you look at it, we broke it into three parts: the underperformance, the structural fault line, and then the security issue. When you talk about the underperformance, it means Nigeria is not where it's supposed to be. The poverty is there, that just like my colleague has just said. We are living, over 80 million Nigerians are living below the poverty line. We have, our life expectancy has dropped to about 55, age of 55. Then the structural fault line, that is the federal system is not working as it should. The center is, very strong, and the federating units are not having they are not playing the role they're supposed to play. Then the security issue, where, bothering, we are being disturbed by all this insurgency and so on. So the job of Atiku is to provide solutions, to give, the sense of direction, to provide a leadership that would, drive the solutions to these problems. That is why you're talking about him coming on board to provide, to bring about unity, bring back the federating units, based on consensus. And this brings me to the issue of this policy document. It is not a constitution. It is a document because if you remember, the principal has already said, that is Atiku Abubakar, he wants to run an inclusive government. That is why he brought this policy at this moment, so that there's enough time for Nigerians to participate, to key in. He wants Nigerians to own this policy. So it is not a constitution. Many people would see it differently. So for those who have other opinions or better solutions, he has given opportunity for Nigerians to come in and join him to provide solutions to the myriad of problems bedeviling this country. He has further said he does not, have the, exclusive right to knowledge. So he wants Nigerians to participate, and this is what we have been yearning for. This is why you see men trying to solve, women's problems. But this time around, he's giving it out to the stakeholders. So you look, you key in where you think you have a better option or opinion, or you have an advice, you do it. So the issue of Atiku providing jobs is just an acronym. It's not about just providing the jobs. It's solving the myriad of problems bedeviling the country and trying to propel Nigeria forward using all avenues possible, from the area of better education, giving more useful education that is the education that is needed for now, looking at the problems that Nigeria is faced with, empowering women, empowering youth. Today, women have over 50% of Nigeria's population. Atiku Abubakar is coming to give us a sense of belonging. If you look at it, previously, all that is said is that, okay, women, we are going to make sure you are involved. But this policy has gone further to tell you, this is the problem. This is how we intend to solve it. And this is the roadmap. Let me give you an example. With women, for instance, Nigeria is a signatory to so many, policies, like the CEDAW policy, the policy that's against violence. But many administrations have come and said, look, we want to domesticate it. But there has not been a push forward. This policy document has gone further to say that we want to domesticate CEDAW and other relevant policies by going to the extent of instituting maybe tribunals that will prosecute men who decide to abuse women for no fault of theirs, either sex, rape, either molestation, either discrimination in the place of work, either domestic violence, and all those related issues. So you see, it has told you specifically that we have tribunal in mind, which means fast, verdict. Any offender that is caught would be dealt with, not this one that will take 20 years with no result. Secondly, we are talking about financial inclusion and political participation. This policy has gone further to tell you that it is going to try to reserve quotas, not only in political appointments, but even in corporate bodies, to give women a chance, to give youths a chance, including his pledge that he's going to give 40% of his positions, ministerial positions or appointments, relevant appointments to women and youth. So you see, this policy is, has come with a difference. It has given you definite programs or policies that, it wants to implement. So I think it is an opportunity for Nigerians to appreciate for the first time. It's just like we've been riding the plane without a map on the airport we want to land. This time around, Atiku Abubakar's policy document has told Nigerians that we are going to take off and we are going to land right in Aso Rock, and we are going to implement policies that would benefit, uplift the living standards of Nigerians.
All right, thank you,
Dr.
Baraka.
What kind of aircraft are you going to land at?
We will see.
Is it a jumbo jet, or because you only have a helipad?
That is the difference with Atiku. He will not tell you the aircraft because we are going to build it together with Nigerians.
All right.
Yes,
Dr. Baraka,
he wants Nigerians to come on.
You've touched on so many issues that we intend to look at in the course of the conversation. But right now, let me bring back Mohammed Bello into the conversation. Mohammed, you see, a lot of people are watching, and people are also watching what's happening with all the political parties. And some people will argue, they'll say to you that here we are talking about a party that was in government for 16 years. Now here we are again with the same people who were in the same government in the last 16 years that they were in power. What exactly are they going to do differently? What is the game-changing strategy? How do you intend to walk the talk?
I think the game-changing strategy this time is a belief in young people and a belief in the future. So what we've come together and put together in the policy document, separate from the original creation of the policy team, a youth policy team was put together to ask young people and say, let's compare Nigeria to other countries, whether in Europe, whether in the United States. There you see young people building wealth. And so we asked ourselves, how do we get young Nigerians to do the same thing? How do we get young Nigerians that can create, can innovate, to do that in the Nigerian economy? Because Nigeria has moved beyond being an oil economy. I think fundamentally, Atiku Abubakar understands that. We've now moved and we're now a knowledge economy. So if you look now, you have Nigerian companies. There's a company called Paga, a fintech company. They do like monetary transfers. They help Nigerians day to day. This company received a $10 million US investment. If you go to the United States, you have companies like Amazon, you have companies like Facebook. They are larger than any oil company in the world. So this administration and Atiku Abubakar understand that while for a very long time we focused on oil, and Nigeria was an oil economy and we took pride in that, we should begin to take pride in our innovation and say our most valuable resource are the human beings in Nigeria, not the oil, and try to exploit, or better yet, to support those human beings and create value from those human beings. And I think that's the difference, that's the game changer, and that's why a lot of young people are excited to be part of that journey.
Mohammed Bello, thank you very much. Dr. Akinwumi, still on the question that my colleague Joy asked, with regard to the hangover effect of the 16 years that the PDP was in power until it was dislodged in 2015. Nigerians keep asking the question, so look, what is it that you're going to do differently, considering that Atiku Abubakar is running on the platform of the PDP, for which, on which platform he was vice president for 8 years?
Now, the first thing is that, for a start, an Atiku government is going to take the pains out of Nigerians.
How?
Pains. You know,
you have a new Panadol or something?
Within the last 3 years, 9 million people have been rendered unemployed. So by now, as we are sitting here, over 60 million Nigerians are unemployed. So for a start, the program that Atiku Abubakar is putting in place, we address that. Secondly, in terms of security, our country here has never been so unsecured. And I can tell you, there is no investor anywhere in the world that will go to an unstable environment and put their money there. As of 2011, over $8.9 billion dollar worth of investment came into this country through FDI. And why? Because the environment was enabling. But today, you know, the fact that, for instance, you want to hold a local government election or state election, and about, I don't know how many policemen you send there, it sends signals to other parts of the world that your country is not safe. The fact that you don't respect the rule of law sends signals to other parts of the world that you cannot be trusted. So, I'm not going to come here and roll out. For instance, look at the many institutions that were put down by this administration, the 16 years that you are talking about. I'm glad when you show a clip there, our principal was talking about the fact that the communication industry, the number of jobs that have been created, the access that have been given to average Nigerians to be able to talk to their fellow Nigerians wherever they are, or make contacts in terms of business, all those things. ICPC, EFCC, who brought those into to be? It was this 16 years of administration that brought it into be. And there are so many other things that came into this country through that administration. And Atiku Abubakar was central to some of these things that came to our country. And what he's trying to do is actually upscale all these things that have been achieved. You tell me in the past 3 years or 4 years to say, you tell me one thing that was started by this government. Nothing. Virtually everything they are talking about, the railway, all of those things, were put down by a PDP administration.
But Dr. Akinwumi, government is a continuum.
Yes, no. If you cannot eat your cake and have it at the same time. If you are blaming the past government that they are not doing, the little that they are doing, and these guys are continuing to do it, we need to recognize that. The moment we don't recognize that, we are not moving as a country. But I can assure you, in terms of security, in terms of empowering our people, the new economy, you go into the policy critically. You look at things like the new economy, financing infrastructure, and all the strategies that were put in place. It will change Nigeria will never be the same again. Because economy, a country only work on the basis of an economy that functions properly. Our economy is not functioning, and there are so many other things that we as individuals we can actually see in our country that is not working for us, and it has to change. And that is why Atiku Abubakar is coming with all these policies. Go through them. Dr. Baraka, my colleague, has mentioned some of these things. There is a structural fault lines in this country. Our economy, this system is not working. It's not working for individuals. It's not working for corporate bodies. Most of them, there are a lot of jobs that are institutions, corporate bodies that were there by 2015. Most of them have closed down because the economy, the environment is stifling them, is killing them. So why are we going to, in fact, the 16 years is incomparable. Don't even let us go there. Because there is nothing that this government can flag out and say, this is what we have done. They've done virtually nothing, except jumping and landing in the same place.
All right, Dr. Akinwumi,
Yes.
we'll come back to you, but I would like Ugojim Nwoko to also respond to the charge by some observers, and indeed particularly some of the members of the governing party who say, listen, there is a hangover effect from 16 years of PDP. So returning to that hangover effect or to that era will be a disservice when they are already projecting a forward motion.
Okay, if you want to do an explicit comparative analysis between the 16 years of PDP, or let me say, since this government has been in power for 3 years, 6 months, or thereabout, or you call it 4 years, and then the 4 years of PDP, you will find out that the PDP did better than the APC.
Did you say 4 years?
I said, if you want to do an explicit comparative analysis between the PDP and the APC, the PDP stayed 16 years in power.
That's right.
Good. So, but I'm now trying to let you know that if this government should stay 16 years in power, perhaps you won't have Nigeria.
You think so?
Yes. You won't have Nigeria. Because by then, we would have gone into extinction out of hunger. Nothing will kill us other than hunger. There is great hunger in the land. Are you not aware? That is why
some people will
let me land.
Okay.
Let me land. I just want to let you know so that we don't pretend about these things. The PDP was in power for 16 years. Atiku Abubakar was vice president. There is no doubt about that. We're not running away from that. But I'm not telling you that, yes, if you compare the two political parties in government, you know that the PDP did better and will always do better. If you do it by comparing PDP first 4 years and this APC first 4 years, you will give PDP a higher mark, a pass mark. You won't give this APC a pass mark. If you leave this party, APC, Muhammad Buhari, to remain in power for 16 years, and I tell you, we will be taking the greatest risk of our lives as a nation and as a people. So the point is this.
What are the specific issues you want to isolate, say,
good.
In the first 4 years of PDP?
Good. The specific issues I want to isolate is that within the first 4 years of PDP, the telephone that was seen to be only for the rich became for all Nigerians. Within these first 4 years of APC, what can you identify them with? Within the first 4 years of the PDP, you saw there was institutionalized effort to fight corruption. The setting up of EFCC, the setting up of ICPC. Within the period of 8 years of PDP, you saw that there was a kind of a genuine effort towards standardizing our public financial system, our public finance management system. That's how you came about the Due Process Office, the Bureau for Public Procurement, to make sure that contracts are awarded following due process. There was nothing like that in Nigeria before. And it was an offshoot of a trip Atiku Abubakar as a vice president made to Brazil. It was what brought about the Fiscal Responsibility Bill into an act, not been implemented today. That agency, Fiscal Responsibility Chairman, the PDP, it wasn't under act to take place following our budgetary process will be eliminated. If you implement the Public Procurement Act properly through the instrumentality of Bureau of Public Procurement, you will see that
take you on questions that people who, you know, some people out there might argue that comparing the APC government's 3 years in office with the first 4 years or 3 years of the PDP may be a disservice to the APC, because they would ask you, what was the situation like when PDP took over, and what was the situation like when APC took over from PDP that was in government for 16 years?
Okay. When the PDP took over in 1999, Nigeria was a pariah nation. The world didn't want to hear about Nigeria. Most of the development partners you have in the country today were not in Nigeria. It was the first PDP 4 years that brought all these people back. Most of the Western embassies had closed, and for instance, Canada. The Canadian High Commission was not in Nigeria. They left during the Abuja years. They came back under the Obasanjo Atiku